Yep. Okay. My name is Jerry Gill, and today is February 16th, 2009. I'm visiting with Elayne Evans in her home here in Okemah, Oklahoma. This interview is for the O State Storage Project at the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program. And Elayne, let me kind of start with your early life. You were born in Boley. Is that correct? And can you tell me a little bit about your family, connection to Boley, and a little bit about the history of the Boley community?
I don't really know much history of the Boley community, other than it was one of the original all black towns in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I lived at Clearview. I was just born at Boley because that's where the doctor was and the doctor's hospital.
Okay. And for those of us that may not know where Clearview is,
Clearview is in Okemah County, about the central southeast part of Okemah County.
Mm-hmm.
About 8 miles east and south of Okemah.
Mm-hmm. So did you have any relatives in the Boley area?
No.
No. Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, can you share some of your early, some memories of your early life and growing up?
Well, I was an only child, lived on a farm, went to Clearview Public Schools for the first 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The last 2 years I transferred to Okemah, which was 6 miles away, and graduated from Okemah High School.
Mm-hmm. The reason why you transferred to Okemah?
Yes, I had decided several years prior to that time that I wanted to be a secretary.
Mm-hmm.
And to be a secretary back in the 1960s, you needed shorthand and typing, which they did not offer at Clearview. Clearview was another one of the original all-black towns in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
When I was growing up, population was about 250 at the most,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's down to about 40.
Mm-hmm.
So a small community.
Mm-hmm. Some of your ancestors helped found the town?
No, my dad moved to Clearview about 1913 from Ashdown, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
He had an uncle who was a merchant there,
Mm-hmm.
and his family moved to Oklahoma because they wanted better education for their children.
Mm-hmm.
So they came into Clearview, Oklahoma. And,
what did your dad do?
my dad was a rural mail carrier.
Mm-hmm.
He was a rural mail carrier for 47 years.
Mm-hmm.
And retired at mandatory age 70, and he was retired for longer than most people work on a job. He lived to be 104 years old.
Wow, that was
So,
just here.
He had passed
ago.
away in October of 2008.
Now he was, I guess at the time was maybe the only black, when he first started, was he the first black rural mail carrier in Oklahoma?
I don't think he was the first black, but there were not very many of them.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably the first one that really became active in the politics of being a rural mail carrier, the Oklahoma Rural Letter Carriers Association, as well as the National Rural Letter Carriers Association.
Did you ever hold any offices for the organizations?
He was, I don't remember the ones he held when I was younger. I'd have to go back and look at the things that I've written up. But one of the things that he was most proud of after he retired, he was PAC chairman, Political Action Committee. And Oklahoma was about number 2 in the nation per capita on their PAC contributions. So he was real proud of that. And he was an active member of the retired Rural Letter Carriers Association for many years also. He enjoyed going to the meetings and helping in that way. He attended all the district meetings and the state meetings, and I believe he said he attended about 17 or 18 of the national conventions in a row without missing any. And he was a delegate most of those years, and that was his one of his things. The things that he liked.
Elayne, what values did you learn in your home and from your family?
Probably honesty, just trying to do your very, very best. That's kind of what was expected of you, and you just did it. That's what
you probably learned hard work. You lived on a farm.
I lived on a farm, yes. as a girl and an only child, I guess I probably wasn't overworked. I did spend a lot of time outside with my dad. Didn't spend a whole lot of time inside with my mother, driving the tractors and helping with the farm work. When I was little, my dad raised, when I was coming along, he raised sweet potatoes. And so I did a lot of work, helping set out sweet potatoes and dig sweet potatoes and whatever. But also worked with the cattle.
You did a lot of canning with your mother and those kinds of things?
I did a little bit, yeah. I did a little bit.
Okay. How did your family experiences growing up, the values you learned, how did it impact your later life, Elayne?
Probably just like I said, the honesty and doing your very best at whatever. My dad took a lot of pride in doing things very accurately and orderly and on time. He was when he carried the mail, people would say they could set their watch by him being on time, the time. Just learning those types of values and keeping your word.
Was the church a big part of your early life?
Yes, in a small town. I grew up in the Methodist church, but we did not have church every week. The Methodists had church on the first and third Sundays, and the Baptists had church on the second and fourth Sundays. So everyone went to church in the community, and that was one of the things that we had to do. In a small community, the church is a big part of it.
So you graduated from Welika High School
Welika High
in
School.
1962?
1962. I was fortunate enough to be one of the co-valedictorians.
Congratulations.
High School. I don't know.
Did that help you some scholarship money? Did you earn some scholarship?
I did get, I think it was called a Regent Scholarship back in those days. A Regent Scholarship. And
4-year scholarship?
I'm not sure. I think it was. It was part tuition. Reduction of tuition.
Tuition waiver scholarship.
Tuition. Well, it didn't completely waive, just partial.
Partial,
Yeah. Partial. But back in those days, tuition was only $7 a credit hour. So, but still, that was a lot of money.
So what influenced you to come to Oklahoma State? I mean, you probably had other choices. Of course, maybe the scholarship helped a little bit. But,
well, I really didn't look at any other schools.
Really?
I went to Stillwater. Back about 1953 or 54, somewhere in the early 50s, maybe 55, to a national rural letter carriers meeting. The national meeting was in Stillwater, and we stayed at Bennett Hall, had the meetings in the student union, and I met a couple of girls from South Dakota. Of course, I was only black there. But I met a couple of girls from South Dakota, and we were the official elevator operators in the student union. So we operated the elevators for everybody going to the meetings, and I just really fell in love with the campus. The formal gardens, the student union looked then just like it looks now, really out front. The formal gardens were really pretty, and I just liked the campus, and I just said, that's where I'm going to go to school when I grow up. And so that's what I did.
Had any other members of your family attended college?
My mother's a Jayhawker.
Oh.
She went to KU. Yes.
Got a degree from
She did not. No, she did not graduate from KU. She went 2 and maybe 3 years, at least 2 years, and contracted polio. So she was home for the summer, I think, working. Anyway, she came down with polio, so she was paralyzed for a year. And her next door neighbor helped her with what we would call now physical therapy. She was just helping her do things, and
she partially recovered.
She about 95% recovered from her bout with polio. Yes.
Amazing.
And so she never went back to finish her degree. But she was a lawyer.
She was a Jayhawker.
Yes. She pulled for OSU whenever we played any sports, unless we played KU. And she played for KU.
Rock Chalk
The
Jayhawk.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk, yes. My dad was not privileged to attend college. He did graduate from, he went to high school at Langston. Langston had a high school in those days. He went to Langston from Clearview because in those days Clearview did not have a high school. He would have to go off somewhere to attend high school. Because of a 4-H project in record keeping, he had a scholarship to Langston. So he and his pig, his 4-H project, his hog, went to Langston, and he was there for, I don't think it was 4 years, I think it was 3 years. But he did graduate from Langston, and I've forgotten the official name of it now, Langston Normal High School or something. I have his diploma. I don't remember now where it is. But
did he have relatives he stayed with him?
No,
that's
on
long ways
campus.
from home.
On the campus.
He stayed on campus, but he actually went to the high school.
He did high school studies there. They had the university there,
Mhm.
but they had a high school division,
Okay.
and that's where he graduated from in 1925.
Well, when you come on campus, I guess we had this discussion earlier at the club, but there were not very many African American female students there. I mean, you probably got to know most of them pretty well.
Oh
I
yeah,
guess.
oh yeah. You knew the names and where they were from, and
Did you feel comfortable with that?
I did.
Adjusted to that? Did you?
I didn't have any problems. I basically went there to go to school, and that's basically what I did to study go to school.
Where did you live on campus?
I lived in Murray Hall.
Murray Hall.
Yeah.
Did you stay there your whole?
I stayed in Murray, the first floor on the south wing, the entire 4 years.
Are you excited to renovating it now?
Yeah, but
Because it'll be different.
it's going to be different. I'm anxious to see what it's going to look like, but at least it didn't tear it down. So, yeah, I enjoy Murray.
And so you gave some clue maybe to this earlier because of where you went to high school, but what did you major in at
In business.
OSU?
I majored in business, yes.
Office management.
Office
business.
management. They, at that time, I think they were saying office management with an accounting option. I took the accounting option.
Do you recall some of the professors that you had at the time? Any of them registered?
Now, I remember Dr. Anderson, I believe. He was an accounting professor.
Wilton Anderson.
Wilton Anderson.
Mhm.
And I think he's probably the only one I really remember by name.
I understand he was department head, but he still taught the introductory classes. Isn't that right?
He was good. Yeah, he was good. I remember him.
How'd you do in his accounting classes? You don't have to get the grade. Just did you do okay?
I did okay.
I heard he
I
was
did
pretty
okay.
tough.
I did okay.
Good. Do you have any? Were any of your classes taught by African American teachers, like
I
professors?
had a history class that was taught by a graduate assistant. I don't think there were no professors or whatever when I was there. There was a graduate assistant, and I cannot remember his name. He was from Arkansas. I believe it was history.
Did you, Elayne? Did you feel welcome by the white students there?
Yeah, I did not have any problem. I lived on, like I said, the south wing of first floor of Murray. There were, I guess, there were like 20 rooms there. 2 rooms had black students in them. And the rest were white, and we just all got along just very, very well.
Was your roommate
My-
black?
Yes, most of the semesters, yes. One summer, I roomed with a girl that was next door to us during the fall. We just kind of all stayed there the 4 years in the same proximity. But I went to one summer school and roomed with Janet Entwistle, the white girl, but otherwise.
So it sounded like there was some social interaction that you had between the white students and the black
in the
students.
dorms, yeah.
In the dorms.
In the dorms.
Well, what was there any, Elayne, any less than positive experiences that you recall in your undergraduate years?
I really didn't have any. Most people or some people say, they feel like when they come from a small town or a small school going to a big university like that, they feel like they get lost or whatever. But I found that I saw the same people basically because of the classes I was in. You're going down the sidewalks and you run into the same people that's going between classes, and there may be 15,000 kids on campus, but you only see a few dozen at a time or a few hundred at a time. So I did not have any problems here.
What were some of your favorite student hangouts at the time?
I'm out in my room now.
Other than your
I'm in my room, the library. No. Fourth floor of the student union, I guess, was. I did not have a car, so we didn't hang out too far off campus in terms of hanging out. I did do activities at the Wesley Foundation, and it was real close by, within walking distance, 2 blocks.
Were you involved in some other activities in addition to Wesley Foundation, student organizations?
Well, I was involved with Kappa Phi with Wesley Foundation. Did pledge a sorority my junior year, but it was not on campus. It was a citywide chapter. It had some members from OSU, some members from OU, some members from Central State, and some members from Oklahoma College for Women at that time. It was through the Oklahoma City Alumni chapter.
So, back in the early 60s, where did you go for dates? What were some of the favorite places?
The library, student union. We'd go occasionally to movies, or sometimes if it was nice weather, we'd just walk downtown.
Did you go to the campus theater?
Campus theater.
Aggie downtown?
I don't know. We went to the Aggie downtown. Most times when we went downtown, we just walk downtown and window shop and walk back.
At the Leachman Theater, I guess, was there too.
Leachman Theater. And there were a few campus parties, I guess you might say.
Did you work during your student years?
I did a couple of years. I worked as a we called it desk clerk at that time, in the dorm. That was it.
I see. Now did you have any door duties? I mean, we had pretty strict hours.
Oh yeah, we had hours at that time. So yeah, basically answer the phone and check people in and
Make sure
remember they were late. Yeah. Check rooms at night. That was a big deal with the girls. So I check rooms at the time they're supposed to be in.
You see, I guess a big social issue was PDA at the time.
Yes.
Public display of affection.
Yes.
Surely you didn't ever get called for the board, did you?
No.
We won't go there. Oh gosh. What? Do you have some favorite memories of your times at OSU?
Favorite memories? Well, let's see. We got married at OSU.
Big favorite.
I guess that could be one of those. We got married at Bennett Chapel.
Bennett Chapel.
Had a reception at the Georgian Lounge. I'm not sure if it's still called Georgian Lounge or not. On the 3rd floor in the new wing of the student union.
So speaking of this guy you read, Claud Evans, when did you first meet Claud? What did you think about this guy?
Well, he says that he met me in September of '62 when I first came on campus. I really don't remember back then.
He didn't make much of an impression, did he?
Well, you're a new person. You're meeting all these people that are there already. And, okay, yeah, hi, how are you? Where are you from? And, we just kind of knew people by their names and where they were from. And I guess I probably remember him more about the spring, started in the fall, toward the spring near the end of the school year. 63, freshman, yeah. I think we had a date then, and then I guess it was probably into the sophomore year.
You got serious? You take him on to meet your parents? Was that when it got serious?
I think, well, he had met my parents because they came up for some football games and a couple of basketball games back in the days when you could come up and go to a football game on just borrow someone down the hall's ID pass and go right on in the football
They
game.
had
So.
basketball, wrestling, they had the odd even.
Odd even,
right?
yeah. I don't think they came up to many basketball games, but they came up to football games and to Parents' Day or whatever. So, they saw him, but
Great. Well,
tried to ignore him probably.
so you get your bachelor's degree in office management at the College of Business Administration in
Correct.
1966.
That's correct.
Was it an option for you to get an accounting degree? Because you took some accounting courses as part of the program. Did you have any interest in getting an accounting degree? Was it an option for you?
I still have my mind set on being a secretary, but I probably had enough. Well, I did have enough hours to have extended it to an accounting degree.
Have a minor in
Yeah, but after 4 years,
it.
and get out of here. No.
Okay.
So,
Well, could you kind of share a little bit, Elayne, with me about your professional career after, of course, you and Claud were at Tuskegee and with different companies, but could you, in those years, what were you doing? What kind of job did you have?
Earlier you were mentioning the scholarships and whatever.
Yes.
I was blessed enough to receive Serentine scholarship.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how I got selected for that. I just kind of got a letter in the mail. I was fortunate enough to make the Dean's Honor Roll a few semesters. I don't think I ever made the President's Honor Roll. Maybe the Dean's Honor Roll.
Yeah, the President's was 4.0
yeah,
and the Dean's was
4.0. Dean's was
3.5 or better.
3.5, yeah.
So you made the Dean's
I
Honor
made the
Roll
Dean's
every year?
Honor Roll a few times, but I think about 3 times. But anyway, they...
Wow. So you must have graduated around a 3.5 grade point average or something.
Nah, it dropped down a little bit. Business law pulled me down a little, and humanities. Business law and humanities.
It wasn't a history
Yeah,
class, was it? Surely.
No. But I was fortunate enough to receive the Serentine scholarship.
And they helped out too, didn't
Oh,
they?
that helped out tremendously because that was the senior year. Yes. Yeah. So.
What were some of your? I'm still kind of going back to undergraduate experience before I ask before you answer the question I asked. Is there anything in your your friendships, relationships that you made that people you still stay in touch with?
I still stay in touch with quite a few of them. Claud and I both knew when there's not very many people around. You know the same people.
Sure.
My roommates, one roommate that I roomed with probably 3 years, 3 or 4 years, is in Memphis, and we stay in touch. Some of the others we correspond at Christmas time with, and then there's a few that I've lost touch with, but like I said, we've stayed in touch with quite a few of them.
Well, laying back to your question about how your degree helped you in your early years and the positions that you had,
Okay.
Claud was pursuing his professional career before you come back to Oklahoma.
Okay. When I after graduation, we went on the book field with. Actually, I introduced him to the book field in a roundabout. Well, almost directly, I guess, because I knew Jeannie and Clyde Irvin from the Wesley Foundation, and I guess Clyde was talking about selling books, or maybe recruiting. I'm not exactly sure how, but anyway, I think I got called over to a meeting talking about it, yeah, and he decided he'd do it, and then he pulled in Kenneth Kimbrough to go with him. So, but anyway, that's how he got connected with Southwestern.
Great,
so
great
through
story.
Clyde and Jeannie Irvin and through the Wesley Foundation. So we went to kind of rambling a little bit, but after we started dating pretty seriously, we went to the Baptist church on Sunday morning because we could walk. We was within walking distance. And then occasionally we'd go down to First Methodist Church, but it was a little bit outside of walking distance unless you get a ride with someone from the Wesley Foundation or
You went
whatever.
to University Heights Baptist Church.
University Heights, yeah. University Heights Baptist Church. But I stayed in touch with with the Wesley Foundation and people that were there. But when after graduation, we went out that summer for the book field, Southwestern book field, and an automobile accident back home for a couple of months. But I was able to get a job with Tuskegee Institute School of Nursing. I was the secretary to the dean. Her secretary had maybe had graduated, her husband had graduated, but she did not have a secretary, so I was able to go right in being the dean's secretary. So I was there 4 years, excluding summers. Told her when I came that I wouldn't be available during the summer. So she said I did a good enough job during the school year that she could limp through the summer, which is what she did. So I came back to it every summer. So 4 years I was the dean's secretary, School of Nursing. And during the summer, I worked 1 year for an insurance company in Fort Worth, Texas, while he was selling books. And the summer of '69, I worked for the Brookings Institution in Washington, D.C. While he was selling books, right down the street from the White House. And
Well, what did you do at the Brookings Institute?
Secretary. More coffee breaks than anything else.
They don't work as hard in the Capitol.
They took a lot of coffee breaks. Because I don't drink coffee, but I took the break time anyway. But as an entry-level person, it was basically just clerk typist type secretary. But brought in a little bit of money, gave me something to do.
So now, let's see, after Tuskegee, you moved to Davis,
California.
California.
I was secretary for the Planning Commission, City of Davis.
Planning Commission, City of Davis.
Yep. Didn't have the foggiest idea what a city plan was. In Clearview, Oklahoma, we did not have zoning restrictions.
Zoning wasn't a problem?
Zoning was not an issue. Not a problem at all. But I learned a lot about zoning. I learned a lot about city council, having to take minutes at those meetings and keep up the great experience.
Great. Well, so then after you were in California for a while, but after you...
1 year at Davis, California, then to St. Louis, Missouri. I told him that I made one mistake. I should have worked for an airline so we could have had free airline tickets, but I didn't. American Airlines, I guess, was hiring people there, but I didn't even interview them. But I did work for Ralston Korean Company. Very convenient because we had one car at the time, and we could drive in together. And so I accepted that job in the tax department, and started out. I believe I started out as a maybe a clerk typist. I'm not really sure, but after I got in there for a few weeks or a few months or whatever, it worked out that I started doing some of the payroll tax returns, and then the payroll tax manager went out on leave, maternity leave for a while, so I got promoted to assistant manager of payroll taxes, where I stayed for the time that I was there.
Those the county classes paid off for you?
County classes, they did finally pay off, yes. So,
that's great.
So I worked in the legal department, tax division during that time.
Well, so after we talked about earlier about you're coming back to Oklahoma and to Okemah, into your close to your hometown, or actually I guess your parents were living here at the time.
Well, yeah, they're just 8 miles away. 8 miles away. So this partnership role, you're creating this thing. Your job was business manager, and I say, well, it still is. Yeah, supposedly office manager.
Office manager. Can you, some of the responsibilities, can you share with us?
Well, let's see. Sometimes it's assistant surgeon, but you do whatever you have to do. But basically, I'm in charge of maintaining the office, placing the orders, doing the books, appointments. The last 15 years, though, I have been altering my job title. The job title is still there. I've altered my duties because when my parents, as an only child, when my parents' health started failing, then we were helping them, trying to keep them out of the nursing home and taking care of them. So we brought them here to live with us. It was a little difficult to make that trip, only 8 miles away, but still at all hours of the day and night and on a moment's notice. So I pretty much moved my office from next door at the clinic to home because I can answer the phone here. I can do a lot of things. I can run back and forth, and so I've just done a lot of the work from home over the last 15 years.
Elayne, how's that worked out for you? I mean, some married couples who've never worked in the same business, but you've been shoulder to shoulder, side by side for all that time.
About 20, yeah. Let's see, how long have we been here? 26 years. Yeah, we've been working together for 26 years.
More than a quarter of a century.
Yeah. Yes. Sometimes we probably do pretty good.
Had to leave the personal issues at home.
No, you just never get away from them. You're driving down the highway. So, oh, by the way, we need to order such and such. Oh, yeah. And expects me to remember it by the time I can write it down and actually do it. But yeah, you never get away from it, really.
Was it special for you, Elayne, to get back to Oklahoma and be near your parents?
Yeah, it was a change. But like you said, we knew where we were coming, and we were.
You planned that for several years.
Yeah, we kind of planned that for several years. We just kind of felt that we needed to get back and help out on the farm a little bit easier to manage when you can actually get to see the animals and get to the facility a lot closer than we did. Somewhat of a fair job in St. Louis. We came home holidays, but still you had to take time off work and schedule things just right, make sure the weather didn't interfere. That was closer than California, but now we're on a day-to-day basis.
Elayne, can you tell me a little bit about I know you've been very much engaged in civic and church organizations. Can you share a little bit of what you've done there?
Let's see. When we moved back here, we did unite with St. Paul's United Methodist Church here in Okemah. And I've been on administrative council several times in different spots. Right now, I'm secretary for the administrative council. I work with the UMW, United Methodist Women, and serving as vice president this year and last year. And one of our circles, Hope Circle, have done a few little extra projects as short-term type projects with with the church. Let's see, what else have I done? Historical Center. I'm just starting to kind of work with that. I kind of got involved with that when Dad was still alive, but didn't really get into it. They're trying to revive the Okemah County Historical Society. They've renamed it History Center so they can include info from all of the towns in the county. So we're working on that. Work with the, we used to call it Foster Care Review Board. Now it's called Post Adjudication Review Board, where we try to make sure that the children in foster care are doing as well as they can do, and making sure that their situations are taken care of as best they can. Reunited with the parents if it's feasible, or put up for adoption and adopted out if that's the best plan.
Charter member of one of the civic organizations?
For the Lions Club.
Lions Club?
Yes.
Yes. Still active in Lions Club?
I'm still active. Hopefully I'll be a little bit more active now that I can attend more of the functions. Now, therefore, the last 2 or 3 years, when Dad needed 24-hour care, it was not as easy to just make all these things as they came along.
What a blessing for 104 years.
Yeah,
wow.
So.
Well, have you remained connected to your family roots and back to Riverside? Is it your community you grew up in?
Clearview.
Clearview.
Yeah. Yes, there's I don't have any more family here. But we're trying very hard to maintain, family. Our family's relatively small, not nearly as large as Claud's family.
Did any aunts, uncles, cousins you grew up with?
No. They're all older, and they're all deceased now. So the cousins and let's see, my dad had one sister, and she's deceased. My mother was an only child. So
And you're the only child.
and I'm an only child, so I have a few cousins, and our family gets together it had been every 2 years, and now a different aspect. I went out to Spartanburg, South Carolina this past year, where my dad's folks came from, and kind of met some more of the relatives that we didn't really know that well. So we'll be getting together with them in a couple of years again. So we just kind of stay in touch with people through reunions, but there's no one just real close by. So.
You go back to Lithka High School reunions, any?
Unfortunately, no.
Yeah.
When they usually have their reunions at Thanksgiving weekend. Yes. And when we were away in St. Louis, we came home on Thanksgiving, but that was the time that we had to see everybody.
Sure.
So we spent our time visiting relatives that time. And since I see some of the people from time to time, I really need to go back to a reunion. I probably wouldn't recognize many people, but
Well, how do you feel about your alma mater now, looking back? Is it still special to you? OSU?
OSU, yes, I still enjoy going back there and remembering the places, things that have changed and things that have not changed. Excuse me, like I said, the west side of the student union still looks the same as it did back in the 50s. And
See, was Walter Starks one of your instructors, or was Walter?
I don't remember that name.
And of course, Will Anderson's still alive, lives in Stillwater, in a nursing home now.
Oh, really?
There in that special care facility.
Okay.
But what, there are things looking back in your life that, about OSU that you look back and think of with pride?
I really had a very, I guess, a pleasant experience there. Nothing, and the people, people that I met, while I was there, so we stay in touch with them. I had a very pleasant experience. I did not have a lot of problems, or if I did have them, I didn't recognize those problems.
And you've stayed close to your alma mater along with Claud.
Yeah.
I mean, with all the activities, Alumni Association, and honors banquets and through the years and things like that.
Since we've been back here, so that's during the times that we were out of state, it was mainly just looking at the score of the game or something like that, or whatever. But or if OSU came to San Diego to play some game while we were there, and we went to that. So, but once we got back in Oklahoma again, we kind of reconnected, I guess you might say.
What do you think about? I mean, I know you don't, but I'm going to ask you anyway. About the legacy. What kind of legacy do you think you've left as you look back over your life? That you're leaving and not left yet.
Well, yeah, haven't left it yet.
Yeah.
I really hadn't thought that much about that. Like I said, I probably have. Hopefully, I can make a difference in someone's life, but I'm going to have to get started here pretty soon. But
I'm sure you've already made a bunch of. What? Can I ask you the same question I asked Claud earlier? How do you hope people remember Elayne Evans?
Well, depends on who's telling it. Claud is the outgoing person. He does this.
Meet and greet.
He does the meeting and greeting. But I'm the one that gets him to the place that he can meet and greet. If it's left up to him, he would not be anywhere. No, I am the official scheduler and the official. I'm the behind the scenes person. I'm the quiet, reserved one, the behind the scenes person. But I let him go out and do all that stuff. But
Well, Elayne, did you think about though being a little bit ahead of your time in the sense that majoring in actually getting a minor in accounting, but in business, office management, come from a small rural community, African American student, major university. Do you ever think about that? I mean, that you really were a little bit out on the edge there.
I didn't consider being out on the edge. It was just, I think in my mind I thought, well, somebody's going to always need a secretary along the way, wherever you go. I considered nursing. I'm not really sure why I changed from nursing. I really don't. Maybe because OSU didn't offer nursing at the time. I think I just really fell in love with OSU. But I always felt that, if you're a nurse, you can always get a job wherever you go. Doesn't matter. Or if you're a secretary or have that type of skills, you can get a job wherever you go. So just kind of built on that and use that as the foundation. And hopefully I don't have to go out and look for another job right away, but I think I could get one. So.
Elayne, looking sort of forward and backwards, but where you are now, where did you think you'd be when you got out of college? Do you have any idea that?
I probably didn't think I'd be in Okemah, Oklahoma. I probably didn't think of that. Big city was not my dream necessarily. It would have been probably a smaller town. But then we had the farm here, and so it's probably going to be a decision. What do you do with the farm as an only child? And mother and dad had worked so hard. His dad started the farm, and then he farmed. So do you just, do you keep it? Do you sell it? What do you do with it? So it would be nice to kind of keep it going. But I really didn't have any idea how I was going to do that. So it just kind of fell in place there.
Feel good about how your life turned out at Elayne so far?
So far, so good.
All right.
So good.
Well, Elayne, is there anything we haven't covered? There's some things I'm sure we missed.
Probably so, but I just
feel free to bring them up.
I just led a real quiet, behind the scenes type of a life. So.
Thank you very much.